Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Victor and I help people navigate through their awakening process. And this video is going to talk about how you can tap in more at will to your divine creativity. Someone asked me the other day if I could talk about creativity, so I figured I would do a video about this topic because your ability to tap in to your divine creative flow is essential to you manifesting your life on all levels in a way that suits you. So I'm going to go over 5 different very relevant and applicable tips that you can apply right today to, again, this endeavor of trying to tap into your divine creativity and get better at it, more efficient at it, faster at it, again, more at will. For a long time it can kind of come and go, and you feel it when it comes. You feel creative in the flow, in the zone, and then it goes and you don't know where it went and when it'll come back. You can get better at choosing to connect to that flow, and that's what this video is all about. So number 1 is to actually embrace your sensitivity. It's fashionable now for empaths, light workers, people who are empathic, quite empathic, to resent their sensitivity, to complain about it, and how dark the world is, and how intense their emotions are, and how negative people are, etc. Well, that's all true, but there are many benefits to being extremely sensitive. One of which is that you can actually discern when you're in the creative flow. Most people don't know when they're in the flow. They don't know, they don't have a real experiential idea of what it really means to be in divine harmony. You do. It's obvious to you. In fact, it's interesting, the increasing contrast between being in the flow and not being in the flow. It's incredibly and growing in its sharp contrast. It's incredibly obvious. So, but you can become more sensitive and therefore better at discerning when you're in the flow. And the way to do this is you just take care of yourself. You eat healthy, you eat wholesome, healthy foods that make you feel good, that you resonate with. You exercise, you meditate, you go out in nature. You do things that expand upon your sensitivity. That's very important. If you try to dumb it down as a means of blending in with the normal world, then you're gonna miss it. Number 2, and this is just a theory of mine, something I've noticed in my own life, but it does seem that, again, our creativity does have an element of divinity, of connection with the divine whole. And I found that when I don't apply, when I don't actually take action and ground my creative inspired types of ideas and whatnot, then I don't get as much. Now that I take very quick, bold action on when I get these ideas, and I make a YouTube video or a blog post, or I create a program, or I do something. I'm always very quick to just blindly ground this, and as a result, I'm tapped into this flow a lot, all the time. It's almost like the source says, "Hey, this dude's doing something with it. Let's just keep giving him more and more and more and more." And a lot of times, if you don't take action on one thing, one idea, then all the other ideas that could spring from that, there's no point of you getting the inspiration, the divine flow, the creative flow, because you haven't even done that first step. What's the point of having step 4, 5, and 6 when you're still on step 1? So the way to tap into your divine creative flow more, better, is start taking bold action. And a little tip, a lot of times the creative flow will come, we'll get an idea, and then the creative flow will go away. And we'll think that, well, it's not the right time or something to do that idea. Well, you don't need to. You had the inspiration, you had the idea, the creative urge to express. Now you don't need that again. So now it's time to actually express it in a very practical way. And then you'll get more. You'll get more and more and more and more. 3, this is something that I still work on, but I've gotten a lot better at, and it's crucial, man, is ignore the praise you get, as well as the naysayers. I make a video, and some videos get a lot more attention than others, more likes, more comments, more shares, more action. Some people say, "Wow, that was great. That was exactly what I needed to hear." What I just read today, I read someone that says, "I can't stand this guy. I just want to punch him in the face. he's so blah, you know. And it's those sorts of things can really trigger the ego response of Victor, the me, who's either in bliss because someone said something nice, or completely insecure and doubtful because this person said this. It's very, at least me, I'm quite fragile to the influences of what people say at this point in my life, so I try to tune them out. It's nice when I read a comment saying, wow, that was awesome, man, that was very helpful, I like it, but I try not to base my life around that, because if I become too dependent on the praise, I set myself up to get caught off guard by the assholes, which are there every single day in my life, talking shit to me in the comments and whatnot. So it's very important, and you'll see this when you try to create something consistently and you start getting feedback. It's a unique challenge. So that's my piece of advice: is ignore all feedback and you just do your thing regardless. One more quick thing about that is I would sometimes get ideas that I would feel really good about, but then again I happen to scroll through an angry, heated, pissed off encyclopedia-like email of why I suck, and it would take me right out of that zone. I would have been totally fired up, ready to shoot, ready to rock and roll, and that one person, it took me out of my zone. So just be very careful about how you relate with the feedback you get once you start doing something. Number 4, and this is very awesome, this is very helpful, is find your magic time. We all have a period during the 24-hour day where we are most productive, most tapped in, and whatnot. For me, I wake up real early, like 5, and I do this morning routine where I do some deep breathing exercises and some meditation. And sometimes I read out of a spiritual enlightenment type of book, like Eckhart Tolle or something, and I'm in the zone, man. And I go to Starbucks, I have a cup of coffee, and that 2-3 hours at that point, that's my magic time. I get so much done. I'm in the flow the whole time during that few hour period. If I tried to be productive at night when I'm like sleepy and tired from the day, I wouldn't be able to do anything. If I was to like contemplate videos to make the next day at night, you guys would not be watching this video because you would have already unsubscribed because they would not be very good. But that's me. I know a lot of people, some people I work with personally, they're like night owls. They're really creative between like 2 and 4 a.m. They're just up, they just don't sleep. They're up all night. That's their time. And go with it, embrace that. It doesn't matter. You don't have to do it at a certain time, but find your own magic time and take advantage of it. Try to clear that out of your day every day where you can really just be with yourself and maximize the potential of your optimal creative, expressive time of day. And then if you do that every day, it's amazing how what you can put out there into the world or whatever in a relatively short period of time when you take advantage of that magic time. That was a tip given to me from a personal training coach named Bedros Cooley, and he helps coaches and personal trainers run a personal training business, and that's something he mentioned, and it's been incredibly helpful. Number 5, it's just to be on a continual path of self-improvement, self-discovery, personal transformation. Become the strongest, greatest, best version of yourself. People who are on that path get a lot of awesome ideas. They're tapped in, they're tapped into their creative flow a lot more often, because the creative flow implies alignment, divine, spiritual, core self, authentic self-alignment. Becoming the strongest, best version of yourself is by definition clearing away the rubble that obscures your true light from shining. So if you are on that path, therefore you're going to be in alignment more and just more connected to the very easily accessible, infinite reservoir of divine ideas, divine inspiration, creativity. There's an abundance of creativity, even though it might seem for a while during your awakening and in your life that it comes very sporadic and without warning. But again, if you just take my last tip, number 5, become the best version of yourself, at least do your best to every day, you will change your tune. You'll realize that those ideas, that inspiration, that creative flow has always been there. You just weren't. You just needed to clear up your antenna a little bit. Becoming the best version of yourself is is cleaning off that antenna. And then you can say, wow, oh, look at all that. So this is a very interesting endeavor to try to excel at tapping into your creative flow. But I found, at least for me, my career, my life, everything really is dependent upon that fundamental skill of becoming better at connection. Because from the place of alignment, the place of connection, from the place of the creative juices flowing, that's when I move forward in life. That's when I make decisions that benefit me, my family, the whole. That's just how I have been creating the life of my dreams. It's from all the things I told you, doing my best to tap in more frequently and then take bold, massive action on that while simultaneously working on myself so I can do it all better. So I hope that helps you guys. That's all for now. I think I said my piece. Have an amazing day. I'll speak to you tomorrow. Namaste.